Hey everyone, in my last video I talked about how we have solved the 5 great challenges of the 20th century. This one is about the 3 great challenges of the 21st century and how they're going to be a little trickier to solve. Alright, the way I see it, there are 3 great challenges in the 21st century that we really don't have any answers to yet. The first one is wealth distribution. It is clearly the richest time in human history. Almost every country in the world is richer, far richer in most cases, than it's ever been. Yet, many people aren't richer. Really, this wealth distribution problem is starting to come into focus at higher levels. I think almost everyone now recognizes that it is a challenge that needs to be solved. How we get there, obviously that is a very difficult question to ask, but I don't think in the future there will be as much of a focus on GDP growth in as much as there will be more of a focus on GDP distribution. I mean, if we grow the economy by 10 points, 10 percentage points, and 9.5 of it goes to the 1%, I don't really think that is going to lead to too many positive outcomes. The second great challenge of the 21st century is health, human health. We have made humans more healthy than ever, but at the same time we haven't really achieved some of the cures to a lot of health ailments, and we don't have a lot of the answers for how to cure cancer, how to cure Alzheimer's, how to cure so many diseases that I don't even want to name and certainly don't want to experience, let alone a lot of the very minor ailments that keep people unhealthy. Even the common cold subtracts so much from human growth and human enjoyment that it is solving it and curing people of ailments remains an incredible challenge. And I think much of the investment for the next 100 years and beyond that will prove to be productive investment is in bettering human health. Now, how do we do that? I haven't the foggiest idea. I'm not an expert. A lot of money is going into pharmaceuticals, and there are obviously a lot of promising technologies there, and who really even knows which technologies will solve which problems, but I think we are going to stumble our way along in that challenge and hopefully make humans a lot more physically healthy. The third big challenge of the 21st century is one that I don't hear that many people talking about as really a challenge for humanity. It's one we like to ignore, but it's one I really don't see any solutions to, and I think it's going to get worse. That problem is addiction. Humans are flawed. We have mastered the physical environment. I think given enough time, we'll master health and improve health, physical health. But mental health, especially addiction, is a growing problem. Even just at the start of the 21st century, the opiate addiction problem has exploded. We have a new addiction that is cell phone addiction, and I think it is, detracting from people's lives, from growth, from human progress. This, I think, is the most free time in human history. We all basically have great levels of freedom, free time, and the ability to explore things. And that in itself has led to more addiction because there's so much access to information. People become obsessed with things. People can take things farther than they've ever before, and it leads to a certain addiction. Video games are another one that never really existed before. Obviously, drug addiction's been around for a long time. And I think when I look at the current state of play, we don't have really any easy answers to addiction, and I think it's getting worse. If you've ever watched the TV show Intervention, it's incredible. They profile people who are hardcore addicts, usually to drugs, but often to other things. And it just shows how life-destroying addiction can be. One that I've talked about in a previous video is gambling. If you look at some of these other problems of the 20th and 21st century, where we have now so much wealth, and wealth distribution is a problem, well, how do you solve a gambling addict? If we're going to give people money and improve equality, how can you give someone some money only to have them gamble it or spend it on drugs or some other type of really life-destroying, perhaps family-destroying addiction? So I see this problem of addiction getting worse before it gets better. And to me, it's one of the most worrisome things in the world. And I'm not a guy who's too worried about humanity, but I think we are really almost in an era where addiction is growing. And I don't have the answers, but I certainly, if you're an investor or if you're someone who wants to change the world, it's a place where there is going to be tremendous amount of investment and a lot of people who are looking for answers in the century ahead. All right, so I'm mostly an optimistic guy, but I don't think we have answers yet to the problems of wealth distribution, human health, and addiction. And I think those are going to be three massive challenges in the future and places where people can invest, and maybe even places where people who are watching this video might want to invest their time or their livelihood. It's also something to think about and ponder, and maybe even let me know if there are other big challenges you think of the 21st century that we haven't solved or we aren't really even close to solving that we should be working on. Thanks so much for watching. For Forex Live, I'm Adam Button.